New, 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 new. New, new. New, 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 new. New, new.
All right.
Okay, we got a small roll of copper tape. We actually had this for a kit pack, but we thought it might be handy. It's only 5 meters, so it says ensure. It's got conductive glue on the other side, so it's handy if you want to use this for attaching for capacitive touch pads. You can solder to it. Last week we put in the conductive nylon, which you can't solder to, but this one you can. So you pick which one you want. Copper tape does crack and oxidize a little bit more, but it's also like very good for carrying a lot of current.
Okay. Stemma connector.
Ooh, the stemma connector. This is handy. This is for our hack ports. You might have noticed on our Halloween and also on the board we're going to show shortly. There's a little 4-pin JST jack that provides power, ground, and then 2 GPIO pins. Those 2 GPIO pins are, in the Halloween case, they can do I2C or analog digital conversion. Often they can do UART. So it's kind of handy for like, it's not going to give you a full feather breakout, but it's just enough for, okay, look, I want to add a sensor, or maybe I want to add 2 potentiometers or 2 buttons, or I want to add a UART connection, or an I2C breakout, whatever. Yeah. I2C kind of lets you explore the whole world of sensing. So instead of like having a full everything, this little port lets you add it.
We have it on Featherwing, and we'll talk about the Neotrellis in a minute. But
there's 2 versions.
There's 2 different ones.
One has a socket connection on the end, and one has a plug connection on the end.
One has that.
One has that. Otherwise the same. And they're color coded. Red is power, black is ground, I think white is data, and green is clock.
So these are really handy.
Very handy. Little hacking ports.
Yeah, I mean, in particular, with this one you could plug into a breadboard.
You plug into a breadboard. So it's like, oh, I want you to help me with the breadboard. There you go.
Okay, because we're making lightsabers now, you need a speaker in the lightsaber.
Yes, you might have noticed that adorable little 3-watt speaker in the base of the saber. And now we have that in the store as well. It's 4 ohms, 3 watts. I can show this off real fast on the overhead because it is a nice little speaker.
Yeah.
It is a nice little speaker. So it's fairly small, but it's deep, and that depth gives it a lot of bass and power. So if you have something where you don't want a big opening, like we have gigantic speakers, you want a big opening, but you don't mind a little bit of depth. And one thing you'll notice is these are often used in like little desktop speakers. So you'll see like this is pretty much the same speaker in size. These are nice and loud. They've got a big magnetic core here. And what's nice is they even come with wires attached. So you can solder on other wires, solder directly to your board. You can desolder it, whatever you like. But these are great little speakers. They're a lot louder than our little flat ones, but not as big as our big chunky ones.
Oh, someone asked, is this the one that came with AdaBox 9? No.
No, AdaBox 9 had a thin oval speaker, which was only 1 watt, 8 ohms. This one's a lot bigger and it's a little bit heavier.
Yeah. Okay, and because there's a lot of stuff going on with Neotrellis, we'll talk about all the different products that go with it. But this don't need Neotrellis, but this is one of the things that works with it.
We have a 2-pack, so it just makes it easier for people because we wanted to make sure that if you did pick up a Neotrellis and you wanted to get the elastomers, there was a 2-pack, so you wouldn't get 1 by accident, you'd get both.
So obviously, we're going to talk about this in a second. But
give us a second.
But this is what it's about.
These squishy buttons, you have to have elastomer pads on them. The PCB that they go on top of has to have the pads on the bottom. But I'll show this because I can't show them on the assembled board. They have this little conductive material. So as long as your PCB has like little interdigitated pads, and we have it in our Eagle library, we have an object for it, and these squish down. And they have they have a hole inside so you can fit an LED basically an LED. And then they've got little nubs for your PCB. So this is a 2-pack. We've had these for quite a while, and they're also open source, and the CAD files are in GitHub. So if you want to model this, you don't have to because we already have a model of it, and you can make any kind of squishy button thing.
Yeah, someone asked, did this come in AdaBox 9?
Yes, those cables. No, sorry. The AdaBox 9 came with a 3-pin JST. We did not have these cables at that time. We also didn't have a project that used them. But you can.
But you can now.
Add it. Yeah, we basically didn't include anything that would have used them. Yeah. But if you'd like, you can add it on now.
Yeah. Okay. And in honor of kind of we got these buttons and everything.
Elastomers.
And given it's a new product section, here's a new machine. I'll just leave it at
It's going to replace me.
Okay, and with that, here is
Neotrellis M4. So we had those little 4x4 boards that we put in the store that you can connect over I2C, but maybe you want an all-in-one board. So we've wanted to make something like this for like 10 years, and we finally had all the pieces for it. We got the NeoPixels, we got the elastomers. We've got the M4 chip that drives it. So we have it as all the different pieces if you want to kind of mix and match, or you can get it as a full kit. So the core is the Neotrellis M4 board. That's this thing. It comes with the SAMD51G19. It's the same chip as the Itsy Bitsy M4. It's a Cortex M4. It has a DSP. It has floating point support. What's really nice about it is it's got dual DACs, and it's got a lot of analog digital inputs. And so that makes it a really good audio generation chip because it's got that DSP and floating point support to do like dynamic audio playback. It's 120 megahertz, so it's really fast. It's got a lot of RAM, so it's good for CircuitPython. And those dual DACs means you can have stereo output. So there's a headphone jack on there, and it can, play WAV files from CircuitPython, for example. Or in Arduino, we have a fork of the PGRC audio library that lets you generate dynamic synthesis using they have like sine in, and then you can put a filter on it. So you can do like really cool synthesizer effects, all living inside of the chip. We also did a couple other things onto the back of the board. If you go there, sorry, I just want to point them out really fast. Has 8 megabyte SPI flash on there, so lots of space for audio files or source files or whatever. Every keypad has a NeoPixel underneath it and also a back protection diode, so you don't have to worry about ghosting because there's like a diode. That's why there's so many diodes on the back. There's also an Electret mic amplifier. I don't have a demo for the Electret mic right now. I mean, it's on the website, but basically if you use a headset that has a microphone input, like your standard Apple headsets, you can use that microphone input and read it as an analog input to get audio input as well as audio output. And then of course it has that hacking port that we just talked about. You plug in a cable and you get I2C or a UART or 2 analog inputs. So you could have it turn into like a guitar pedal with like stereo audio in and stereo audio out, and it filters stuff. I mean, it's kind of like everything and everything. Yeah. And then of course it has native USB and it can act like a MIDI device as well. Some people are like, I just want it to be a MIDI input into my computer or synthesizer or whatever sequencer. Yeah, it can do that too. But I think what's neat is that because it has the audio capability built in, it can make music on its own, standalone. You don't need a computer.
And you could buy this separate. You could buy these separate. And you could buy the case for it separate. But you want to get it as a pack. And the pack has all this stuff.
Yes, I would recommend the pack. Unless you know what you're doing. But honestly, you're going to want the pack anyways. So it comes in this really beautiful case. Everything's laser cut. Goes together. Phil B designed the case. It's like super cool. It feels great. It's easy to put together. It's just a couple of acrylic parts. And you got like full rainbow NeoPixel action. So basically you can replace me with a new machine.
Well,
no, I was just kidding. So we have Arduino and CircuitPython support for this. Arduino is what I suggest if you're like, I want to do audio synthesis with that audio library like on the board. I want like a lot of computation and processing. If you want it to be more like a sequencer that plays audio clips that you want to store on the disk drive, that's what CircuitPython's great for. It's a lot easier to use. It can do polyphonic wave playback, so you can have multiple audio effects playing at the same time. So there's a couple different ways to use it. It's kind of a general purpose.
Let's do some demos because I have something I'm going to do.
Okay, let's start with what the demo that comes on it.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, beep. So I have.
We have the lights on here, but you can look at the videos and stuff.
Yeah, so I have this hooked up to a little speaker, so you'll hear it. And basically, the demo it comes with is audio library Simple Synth. It has 4 octaves, 4 voices, 1 octave each, and each one is a different sound effect. So you got soft tone. And you can hear it's polyphonic, so it can play all those notes at the same time. So it's just a basic demo, just showing the lights react.
And this is a RGB LED. It's NeoPixel. It's open source. It's Python powered or Arduino. It has all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that pack that we put together, all of this is $59.
Yeah.
59. 59.
$59.95.
So I have one. I showed this on Show and Tell.
This one's just a basic Arduino demo, but let's show.
I showed this on Show and Tell,
more
but
advanced.
go ahead and put it there.
Okay, so this
and then plug this in.
Okay.
So this is my demo. Now, as the tracks fly by,
yes,
and
it's a sequencer.
When you press the button.
So it goes by.
Yeah, so press, Now, because it has an accelerometer, it's an analog devices. Shout out to Analog and DigiKey for hooking us up with this. And
If I tilt it, it goes
starts to speed
faster.
up. Yeah. And if you keep tilting it, keep tilting it, keep tilting it.
Oh my goodness, it's going so fast.
And then you can tilt it the other way.
And this is the demo running Circuit Python, and it's just playing WAV files. So it's really easy to customize what it's playing, because you just drag WAV files onto the little disk drive like we have with Circuit Python, and then, one wave for each voice, and then you have 8 steps. So it's like the code is only like 100 lines. It's like really small.
I played it loud. Sorry. Look, you know what? I had to rock out.
Yeah,
That's the way it
but
is.
sorry, we were super metal.
Yeah.
But just goes to show you, it can be loud. So you can make the nerdiest synth.
So. And
There you go.
And with that, Lady Ada, that is new products for this week.
No, ready for a recap. All right, new. We've got a roll of copper tape. It's 5 meters long. It's skinny. It's got conductive glue, great for capacitive touch, or you want to solder to it. It's a small roll. We've got these 4 JST hacker cables. We've got a version that has socket headers on the end and a version that has male plug headers. It goes on a lot of our boards like the Trellis or the that we're going to talk about, or the Halloween. So you can connect it and then plug into a breadboard or add wiring. We have this adorable 3-watt 4-ohm speaker. Works great with most of our amplifiers. It's small but deep. It has a lot of good bass effect to it. This 2-pack of elastomer pads, you get 2 of our 4x4 trellis pads. Great for the Neo Trellis, which we'll be talking about in a moment. Okay, so I've been replaced by a machine. This Neo Trellis machine. It's a 4x8 grid of those elastomer pads with a NeoPixel behind each one and a microcontroller on the back. It's a SAMD51 M4 core running at 120 megahertz. It's got floating point DSP support and a dual DAC, which means it's great for generating audio effects. It's also got an electret microphone in if you want to do voice recording.
There's a case and more.
We have a case that comes with it. You can get it as a full kit. It looks like this. It goes together really nicely. It's called the Neo Trellis. Playing buttons, you can do all sorts of cool stuff. We've got a lot of examples for both CircuitPython and Arduino. That's the new.